I went live.
Oh, you did?
Yorp.
Oh, thank you for telling me.
Mm-hmm. I'm good at that.
Whatever.
Did you send me the oh yeah, it's in my email.
No, I sent it to Facebook.
Well, don't do that.
Oh, good, I didn't. Why would I do that?
I don't know.
Girl. Going home. Girl with wings. Girl.
What in tarnation? Welcome, Ducky. I've been waiting for you.
Oh, man.
Gonna creep everyone out before we even get started.
Making pancakes.
Hello, agency.
Making pancakes.
Making pancakes. Yeah, that's.
Take some bacon and put it in the pancakes.
Yep.
Bacon pancakes, that's what it's gonna be. Bacon
Pancakes.
pancakes. Hi, Steve. Hi, Brad.
Hi, folks.
Folks.
Hello, folks. Just a bunch of folks streaming in. Wait, babe.
Huh? What'd I do?
Never mind.
What'd I do?
Nothing. You didn't do anything.
Okay, good.
I did something stupid.
Oh, good. It was not me, it was you.
It was me. Yeah, it goes that way sometimes. Hi guys. Hello. I'm really tired, so I'm sorry that I'm not going to be doing a Sundered Lands stream tonight. I do want to do one before the weekend's end, but not tonight because my brain needs to actually be doing things, and I'm almost going on 24 hours without sleep. So that's probably not, definitely not going to happen tonight. But I did say that there was. I did say what?
Okay.
Yeah, I woke up at 10 o'clock yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
But I did say that I was going to do a stream, and I hinted at. Well, fortunately, I left it very open-ended. So I'm going to explore some of that open-endedness.
Hi, Cynthia.
So many salutations. Oh, God. My leg is itchy. I need one of them back scratchers! But for my leg. Oh. 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 Okay. Now that that business is settled, almost getting comfortable in my chair. Yes, as you can see on the right side, there is a docket. And on the docket, well, it's building characters first of all. So I finished up my little itty bitty teensy weensy little polka dot completely deprived stream companion. So here's this. What's the best way to host this? Just like throw it in my docs and then share it like that, or it's a PDF. So
Yeah, that's fine.
yeah. Can't ignore the banner.
Duck is streaming if you guys want to move to the multi.
How do I do this? Oh, you know what? I can just throw it into the Discord, and then the Discord generates a link to it.
That's true.
So let me find Discord and put it in there. I'll put it in the Discord real slow, like. Move. Okay. My tired is starting to make itself very apparent. Where my downloads go? Where do my downloads go, Firefox? This is the third time I've had to wrestle with you on stream, and I'm starting to look like I'm Firefox inept. Which would be true. I am definitely that. Okay, cool. Dropping the yes, this is the totally 100% entirely completed, no revisions to be made, final version of the uh, gaming companion for making characters and vaguely understanding the game. Um, okay, so sure. Copy link. Post link. Does that work? Cool. Maybe?
Yep.
I don't know.
Works.
Well, hopefully people who potentially don't have Discord open right now, they can go to that, because maybe like Discord hides it behind some kind of authentication. Okay, cool. Well, sweet. There you go. That's it. So if you pop that open, which I should probably do on stream, that would be a really good idea. Don't you agree? Cool. How would I go about this?
We gotta start moving your stuff to my computer so I can produce for you.
Yeah. Okay, let's shrink that. Ooh, let's super shrink that, because that's a huge window.
What's the window for?
Is it working? Oh, almost. Okay. Ooh, maybe. Ooh, you want to do it? You want to work? No?
You're trying to do?
I'm trying to get it to capture my window, which is the window that I have the PDF open.
It doesn't like doing that.
Yeah, apparently not. I'm finding this out. Okay.
It's better at display capture.
Well, I don't want to capture the display of both of my monitors.
It just does one.
Does it?
You just pick which one.
Okay. I don't know which one of those that is. Uh-oh. We're either going to go into an infinite recursion, or we're going to go to the right place. We did neither. Huh. That's interesting. It's just disappeared. Okay. So yeah, if you open it, which you probably will have significantly less technical difficulties with opening it on your side and looking at it than I am apparently having opening it and streaming it. The first page, just kind of like a brief little overview of gameplay. I didn't want to go too much into anything related to like setting or what the game... I don't want to go into too much about what the game is about. We know that it's fantasy because you guys said you wanted something fantasy, so it's going to be fantasy. I didn't want to go too much into like setting, like what is the world and what is the name of the king and the city that you come from. Like I don't want to do any of that just yet, because like we're not playing. It's putting the cart in front of the horse. Yeah. So hopefully it's not too texty. I tried keeping it kind of brief. But yeah, it's just like this first page is just kind of for you if you have zero experience playing RPGs, or you have a little bit of experience and you want to know exactly what's the difference between the RPGs you've played and this RPG. So if you just want to completely skip that, you can go to, or if you want to just scroll down and take a look at what is in the rest of the PDF, the second page is your character sheet. This is the part that you would actually print out, or if you needed it, we could make it form fillable for you so that you could use it on your computer. But probably it's fun to do it in pencil and paper, you know. But yeah, to print it out and actually like build your character upon, and that will be what you track your character on. But of course, that's kind of intimidating. You look at it and it says stats, might, agility, intellect, charm, conditions, this, that, and the other thing. What do I do with that, Turk? Well, do I have an answer for you? Page 3, making your character. So yeah, you go down there and it walks you through in. Like I said, I tried keeping it brief. I didn't want to do anything too in depth, but it just walks you through. Step 1, do this. Step 2, do this. Step 3, hey, thank you, agency. Thanks for the sparkles. So many sparkles. Yeah, so it just walks you through the process of building your character, and hopefully I kind of threw it together in a way that, like, when you're going through it, you kind of start to get a little bit of feel of what the game is going to kind of be like. Um, Integrating your information that was on page 1 and page 3. And then page 4 is just like example stuff for if you're kind of having a mental block and you can't think of things to build your character with. Page 4 is just like a bunch of things that I just kind of like threw down onto a page. So if you've ever played like D&D or D&D probably, then you're probably familiar with going through the player handbook and building a character that way. And when you build a character that way, it tells you exactly what everything is in strict, very rule-laden text, like you can use an action to move 30 feet, which is exactly 6 spaces on a standard grid, and make 1 attack against a single enemy within melee range, right? Like very like deliberate language. He only wears that style too. What is that in response to?
The 300 sparkles that we just got was a sticker that she put on you, and they were aviator glasses.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, like it's a very strict language. I don't want you guys to think at all that like this game is at all that way. Where it's I'm kind of just like winging it a little bit, but also B, I really like. Oh, thank you, agency. I really like games that are kind of like more focused on the fiction than they are focused on the gameplay. And I don't really think that gameplay would translate very well into a stream thing, right? Because for gameplay to be the main focus, we would probably have to do like a big setup where like I'm talking to you guys over Discord, and then we've got like a battle map that I'm streaming with a webcam down, and I'm like moving minis around. I'm like, hey, do you want to move here or do you want to move here? It becomes kind of clumsy. So it's a little bit easier if we're doing like theater of the mind stuff, where I say like, okay, you walk into the dank cellar and you look around and you see a lot of dank barrels. Not moist barrels. These barrels are dank as fuck. They got like memes all over them. What do? One of the barrels pops out at you. It's a mimic. It's trying to eat you. What do you do? Right? Like theater of the mind, where basically the entire story exists in the conversation that we're having. And part of that is just like keeping the character creation really loosey goosey. Yeah, I mean this will be like a work in progress and an exploration. If we end up wanting to try doing some like minis or something like that, like we can do that. And there are like programs, there's like Roll20 and stuff that we could use to do that. It's just I thought like kind of just jumping in would be really easy if we could just kind of like you build your character and then you sit in a Discord chat with me and I say words at you and then you say words back at me. Like I just describe situations to you and you say, yeah, I think I want to do this. And then that's how the game goes. It's really, yeah, it's really straightforward this way. Yeah, so I don't know, like I don't know if you guys are like at all intimidated by this handout, but I tried making sure that it's like kind of streamlined as I'm capable of doing with like a week's amount of work put into it.
It's pretty easily understandable.
Yeah, I hope so. So like just to kind of like run through it myself, and it's not something that I won't take credit for. Like I am not like solely responsible for this. This is a hodgepodge of like 5 different things that I've come to love about different RPGs. But like I printed it out myself as soon as I was done with the character sheet, and I was like, let's just make a character really quickly. Let's see how this goes. So I just like started following my own instructions, and like immediately, like I had a character that came out, and I was like, this is really cool. I've never thought of this character before, and I actually really want to play this character now. Now, of course, I'm like, I don't know, I'm an experienced RPG player, so I have like a very strong interest in this stuff, and I felt like very inspired to do it. Maybe some of you guys will have a harder time with it. But I don't know, like if you guys are interested, like we can kind of go through really quickly, like just like the process of making a character, because that's probably like step one is even if you don't want to play, like if you don't want to be sitting in a Discord chat with me telling you like that you're surrounded by goblins and they're trying to take away your pointy wizard hat, if that's not like the kind of thing that you're into, that's okay. That's okay. That's fine. You can participate in this even if you don't want to be the person who is on the other side of the Discord chat with me. You can be someone who has still filled out one of these, but you're participating in chat. So I want to try and incentivize everyone to have a character when we're playing this, because everyone, regardless of whether or not you are in the Discord with me, is going to have an impact. Hey, thanks, Scottish Asian. So that's at the bottom right there. Right there, support actions. Those support actions. So I'm gonna give you guys like an under. I'm gonna try and give you like a little bit of a. So here are in the rules that I have written down. Okay, so it's gonna be 2 to 3 players who are actually playing with me. I will be GMing. There will be 2 to 3 players who are actually in a Discord chat with me or whatever voice chat we're using, who have characters, and they are actively driving the action. They are the main, they are the starring actors of that session. They are the people who are saying, I run up to the kobold and I cut its stupid little koboldy nose off. They will be the ones who are doing that. Then there will be 1 to 6 players who are support characters. They're kind of like, if we think about it, they are like off screen. They're like the shadows moving around in the back. They're the guys who are off stage, still doing things and still helping the players. Because they are supporting characters, they will have supporting actions. So if you see those, oversee development, lend a hand, step into the spotlight. If one of the main characters who is in the starring role gets downed, if we're fighting, you know, if it's like a tense fight and they're trying to kill a dragon and someone climbs onto the dragon's back and the dragon takes to flight and starts flying around and then crashes down, and that character, if that character gets their ass kicked, someone's going to need to step in. Someone who is one of those 1 to 6 players will be able to step into the spotlight. One of those supporting characters will be able to jump into the game and play in the stead of the player who was just killed. They weren't killed, they were knocked out, and then like one of the supporting characters came in and rescued them and jumped into the spotlight. If something is proving very difficult, if something is proving kind of titular to the progression of the main characters, like the spotlighted characters, a supporting character can lend a hand. Lending a hand is the action that you would take. It's like you're trying to pick the lock that's going to get you into the hoard of gold on the other side, but you just can't seem to quite get it, and you really want to get this. One of the supporting characters can come forward and say, aha, I conveniently have, the key for this. I found it off screen. Or they come forward and they say this, and that is kind of the fictional representation of them lending a hand, and the lending a hand allows you to better succeed at that thing. And then the oversee development. The oversee development is they're going to be like, you guys are going to be making your mark on the world. You guys are going to be exploring these new lands. That's what the name is. That's where the name comes from. The name is Here Be Dragons. It's like there are unexplored places out in the world, and you guys are going into them, and you are like exploring these dangerous, unknown, uncharted places. And when you go there, you have to bring a little bit of yourself with you. You're going to be bringing a little bit of your society with you. So you're going to be making little bases, little settlements. And when you make those settlements, God damn it, we're going to have so many healers apparently.
I won't be a healer. It's fine.
You guys are going to be making these little settlements, and you're going to be building up these settlements. You're going to be developing them. And that's something that that supporting characters can do, oversee development. And if they are there for the entire stream as a supporting character, if they are present in chat and they are present for play, then they have a chance, based upon how well they do in their roles, to bolster your guys' position in the world, to expand your settlement, to build a blacksmith, so that in your settlement, in this new land that you've just come to, this uncharted land, you have a blacksmith now who can make you weapons, and that's like very cool. So yeah, I want there to be like a sense that like I want one to incentivize everybody to have a filled out character sheet, whether or not you're going to play or not. I want everyone to have one of these, just so that if at some point in the future you say, you know what, I actually do want to give this a try, you've already got it. You're jumping right in. But even if you don't want to jump in, you're still going to be helping the people who are playing. You are still going to be contributing positively to the movement of the community. So, okay, there are the main people who are in the spotlight. There are the support players, which will be 1 to 6 depending on different rules. Then there is the, as I'm calling them, the Deus Ex Civitas, which is God in the community. If you're familiar with Deus Ex Machina, it's that plot device of like God in the machine. God kind of comes forth and just solves all your problems. The Deus Ex Civitas, second page with the conditions. I'll get to that in a second. The Deus Ex Civitas is like the community, the God that is the community. I am like when I played the Doomed Pilgrim, you know how I turned to you guys and I said, what happens next? When we're playing, I'm occasionally going to turn to the community who is not playing and say, what bad things happen to the people who are playing? We've just walked into this dungeon and they see something horrifying. Community, tell me, what is it that the players see? You are gods, exactly. So I'm gonna try. I want to incorporate. I want to try and incorporate everybody into this. I want to make sure that everyone has like a place and a participating role in this, of varying degrees. You know, some people have comfort playing, some people have comfort just kind of being on the sidelines, throwing in support, and some people just want to comment. I want to make sure that regardless of which one of those people you are, you have a place of comfort. Okay, Ducky, you had a question about the conditions. So if you look closely at this, there's no health. Where's your health? There's name, there's level, there's stats, there's paths, conditions. Where's the health? Tracking health is a number thing. It's kind of unwieldy, right? Like if you get hit, it's really hard to quantify what 4 damage is. It's really hard to quantify exactly like if someone like screams in your ear, what does that mean exactly for the fiction and how that translates into numbers. As well, it's like I don't want you guys to think that I think that there's going to be like rampant cheating, but it just completely removes the possibility of cheating if we don't have too much tracking. And it just makes it easier on you guys too. I don't want there to be a situation in the future where, you know, there is like this faint like possibility, like maybe this grows. Maybe more people from other parts of Stream Me come into this, and then it kind of seems like they've jumped into play, and it kind of seems like they're consistently like, their health is like consistently higher than it should be. Even if they're not actually cheating, there'll be that like faint nagging thing in the back of our head. You know, are they? You know, are they like when I tell them that they take 5 damage, are they just writing down that they took 2 damage? Like that just creates drama. So instead it'll just be 4. That's your health. You have 4 health. And your health is represented in fictional terms. So if something happens, to you that scares you, you become terrified. If something happens that injures you, you become injured. If you do something and there's a cost to that, it exhausts you. And if you are terrified, exhausted, and injured, you become broken. And once you are in that broken state, you're on the cusp. You know, you're on death's doorstep. If anything else happens to you, then you may be in very serious trouble. So like it's good to just kind of think of that as like you have 4 health. That doesn't mean that like I'm gonna be like rolling a d6 for monsters. Like if a monster hits you, I'm not gonna roll a d6 and be like, you take 5 damage, so mark off all your conditions and you die. No, it's gonna be a little abstract. It's not gonna be quite like if Ducky, you've listened to the Adventure Zone. I'm not gonna be telling you that like a monster hits you and you take like 2 damage and stuff like that. It's gonna be like you pop into the room and you see that there's this issue that you need to overcome, and in order to do so, it might exhaust you to be able to do it, or either you do it quickly or you don't exhaust yourself to do it, but you actually have to fight something, right? Like maybe you can really quickly get across the room and you can pull this lever that'll really make all your problems disappear, but that might exhaust you, or you can go fight them and risk getting injured. It'll be sort of like that. And if you get into a fight with something and it really messes you up, I'll say, yeah, yeah, low HP, but that's good because you have the entire community supporting you. It's not just the 3 of you. Remember that. It's going to be the 3 of you plus all of your supporting characters. So if I say, no, I mean healers are going to be really valuable then. If you walk into a room and there stands before you like a reanimated like Kingsguard, like a knight that was like the great royal guard of this dead king, and this great royal guard has been reanimated himself, and he comes at you and he swings, with the great mastery of his sword that he has from a lifetime spent guarding his king, and he swings at you, and you're low on health. A support character can lend you a hand. They can help you to not take the damage that you're worried about taking. So yeah, even if you've got low health, like people are going to be able to help you. They're going to lend you a hand. That's what that support move is. So how healers work? If you look in the 4th page, no. Healers will be able to heal conditions, right? So like if you're injured, you will be able to heal someone, and it will help if you have the physician path. So a big part of like building your character is the paths that you've taken in life. You can kind of think of them as careers or occupation. They're like kind of like the things that you've done, or the things that you're doing. And it's not necessarily in your past. If you have in your paths that you are an assassin, you can still be an assassin, and you will still be leveling up that assassin path. You will still be gaining experience in it. But if you take, so for example, the path that you are a physician, or perhaps like an alchemist, then you will be able to make things to help people and to remedy their ailments. So if you're a physician, I would say that you would be able to do roles to help people to fix their injuries when you have downtime. If you're an alchemist, I would say you can probably like brew things. You can throw things together. You can make like potions that can help calm people or to like take care of their exhaustion.
Slingshot alchemist.
Slingshot alchemist. I'm fucking game. I love it. I love the idea. I love the idea. Does anyone else have any other questions or concerns about like making a character? Yeah, convert everything into gold. Yeah, if you guys have any so I'm trying to literally like go down like docket like the pieces. So like subject number 1, like building characters. Here is the PDF. I'm gonna link it again. I think it's still in my. Yeah, I'm gonna link that again in case anyone missed it. They can open that. Yeah. Building characters is going to be a really big part of it. And I mean, you can always build it. It's not necessary that you do it ASAP, but like start thinking about it. Start thinking about it. Go through this and just kind of like give it the time of day. Make a good faith effort to just go through and be like, okay, on page 3 it says making your character. Select 4 paths that your character has had in their past or present. Okay, so let's go down paths. Artisan. Ooh, assassin. I really want to be an assassin. That sounds cool. So I write down assassin. Gladiator. Wow, like gladiator sounds super cool. I'm just gonna have a gladiator assassin. Apparently, I'm a gladiator assassin. Go down, do sorcerer. So it's just like so. I mean, this is the low hanging fruit. You're a sorcerer, gladiator, assassin, soldier. So that's pretty cool. Good for you to be all of those amazing things. And then you put your points into those things. But then, like, think about that. What is that character? What is the character that is an assassin, gladiator, sorcerer, soldier? Where did they start out? Did they start out being a soldier? And then they found out that they were super good at killing people, and then they became an assassin. They were like recruited into that. Maybe they started out as an assassin. They were just killing people for as a living. They were killing people because they were contracted to kill people. And maybe they decided they didn't like that. They didn't like that. They wanted to protect the weak. So they became a soldier. And then maybe after defending the weak for some amount of time, they were elevated. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like you want to build your character out of your paths, and hopefully, like the paths do that. Hopefully, you look at the paths that you pick, and you say, I want my guy to have been a mercenary, merchant, performer, physician. Hopefully, you look at that. Hopefully, you look at that, and you say like something, like you start like you play around with it in your head, and something starts to emerge as to like what your story is. So then, yeah, you pick your paths, you pick the experience you have in those paths. So that tells you how much experience, how much you got from being in that path. Then you pick your stats. So maybe if you were a gladiator barbarian, you'd probably want to have like good strength. That makes sense. Maybe some good agility. Maybe you're not the most intelligent dude. Maybe you're not very charming either. You're not very good at talking people over. You just kill things. Step three, what makes you tick? It says, hopefully some semblance of a mental picture of your character is starting to emerge. Hopefully that's coming out of your paths. Yeah, yeah. Hopefully that's coming out of your paths. And like, hopefully you're starting to get an idea of like, okay, this character, they started out as an assassin. They became a defender of the weak by becoming a guard. They wanted to defend the weak, so they became a guard. Maybe their drive is to defend the weak. And I'll get into what exactly the rules of that mean once we're actually playing. But just kind of like try and think of it in abstract terms of like what is this person? What is this person that I'm going to be playing? And then then you pick a flaw like based upon what they do. Maybe your flaw is that you cannot help but help the weak. Right? So like if you stumble upon a situation where it could potentially get you in trouble, you still have to help the weak because that's just who you are. Then you pick your weapon, and like if you look at page 4, example weapons, they can be just about, I mean, really anything. I mean, ideally you want to be able to use them to kill someone because there is going to be a fair bit of combat in the game. But right, like I have down here when I made the character. When I made this character, I wrote down that his weapon is the pen because the way his story ended up working out when I was going through his paths is that he's a noble that tries to resolve conflict with nonviolence. He was also an assassin early on in his life, but he can't remember that he was an assassin because he was cursed. Interesting. I didn't have any idea of what this character was going to be. I just wrote down paths, and then like a story emerged in my mind. But his pen, he uses his pen to resolve his conflicts because he's now a diplomatic noble. But his pen, because he knows that he has the abilities of an assassin, his pen also has a switchblade in it. Cool, right? Like you wouldn't expect that a pen would be a weapon, but you can do that. That's fine. I'm game with that because like the damage is abstract. I'm not going to say like, oh, you've got a knife. You only deal D4 damage. The bad guy, or like your buddy over here, he's got a big fucking 2-hand sword that's on fire. He deals a D12 damage. You deal a D4 damage. It's a little more abstract. You hurt someone, they get hurt. Okay. Yeah. So enough about me just like bloviating on. Any questions? You guys have any like ideas? Like, is this like kind of like resonating with any of you? And do any of you feel like you could make a character in this? Hell yeah. It's good.
I roleplayed I was a dog when I was small.
Make a dog character.
I said I wanted to be a dragon.
Cool. Cool. Yeah, I want to get your guys's, like, even if you don't make your character right now, if you are so excited that you make your character right now, mwah, mwah. Oh, I love it. I've done my job. I've done my job. Like I'm so happy if you guys are that excited that you're making it now. If you're just turning ideas, if your gears are just turning, I'm still so excited. I'm still very happy if it's turning in your head. Um, good, good, good. Cool. So
Jeff said she needs help with her stats.
so do you so what's the question that do you have any questions specifically about your stats? So it's going to be kind of like, when do you get drinks? Dude, go get a drink. When do you get drinks? You get drinks yesterday. You get drinks right now. Get it out. Start at it. Um, That's fucking awesome. Okay, so let me clarify a little bit of what's talked about on that first page. So it says if you have so when I tell you, so you say you want to do something. So let's say Ducky, you're playing your character. You're playing your character and you want to you've got your slingshot, and the goblin off in the distance he's running to alert the rest of his little goblin-y encampment, and you want to make a shot at him. I would then say that's not a trivial thing to do. He's running away. You're gonna have to like get a good shot on him. How do you do that? Well, more than likely, I feel like it would probably be agility, right? Because agility is like your deftness. It is like, right, like typically agility is like used for ranged weapons because you have to be really coordinated to do those kinds of things, to make those kinds of shots.
Yeah, be a pro Hanzo.
Yeah, you need to be a pro Hanzo. So I would say that would probably be like an agility. So go ahead and roll agility. So in order to succeed at that using a slingshot, you'd probably want to be an agile character. So you probably want to have a couple points in agility so that you're rolling some dice. Keep in mind, if you don't have anything in that point, so if I tell you, right, like if you spread your stats out and you're like, I want to be really agile, I want my hippie kaye cowboy to be very agile. I want them to be charming because what hippie cowboy is not charming as fuck. He has to be a dashing fellow or a dashing fellette. So you're agile, you're charming, and you're intelligent. If you want to run up to someone and punch them, you probably won't be able to put points into Richard Parker. Whoosh. If you decide that you want to run up and you want to punch something and you haven't put any points into might, unless your path tells you that you have a reason to be able to punch someone well, you're going to have a hard time punching them. So it's a little bit of a way thing. I mean, I don't know how to help you out too much better. There aren't like ability scores or anything like that. There aren't like specific abilities like in D&D. There's like make an athletics roll, make a persuasion roll. All of that's kind of compressed down into these like larger umbrellas. So in D&D, like when you pick a lock, it's a sleight of hand roll, but it's a sleight of hand dex roll. If you sneak, it's a sneak roll, but it's a sneak dex roll. So instead of having these like little granular things where it's like I'm going to sneak specifically, you're just agile. You're just agile. If you think being agile is the thing that makes you sneaky, then put points in agility. If you want to be able to like spot things or like examine things really closely, probably intellect. If you want to be able to recall information about the world, intellect. If you want to be able to schmooze people over, charm. if you want to be able to punch people in the face like super hard, like so hard that their face just like disappears, like they just don't have a face anymore. Just like jam them into might, like just punch people really really good. Um, does that help at all, Duck? As far as the stats, I mean, I don't want you guys to think that you have to power game this too hard. That like you have to like optimize your character. Like we're just kind of flying in blind. I'm not gonna like I'm not gonna like try and this isn't Dark Souls. I'm not gonna drop a dragon on you that like kills all your characters instantly. Like you don't have to worry about like optimizing. If you want to optimize, hell yeah, do it. And I'll try and work with you to make sure that like if you're the kind of person who wants to optimize because you want to be the best, I'll try and make sure that I challenge you.
I found a thing.
I used to be an adventurer until I took a punch to the knee. What's that? Oh, interesting.
So I don't know if you can see my old messages. So to roll a die,
Yeah.
you just press the number sign, and
Cool.
then you like say you have 4d6 that you're gonna roll. You just type in 4d6 and it rolls it, gives you the full number. But if you click or if you mouse over the I, it tells you what each dice was.
Okay.
What each die was.
Cool. No, I'm glad you dropped by, Miss Bunny. That's okay. I'll be going over this like continually. This isn't like a one time thing. Like this is I'm gonna constantly be trying to like touch base with you guys and make sure that everyone understands this and everybody feels like they're being sufficiently assisted in overcoming the barriers to like jumping into this and playing because I want you guys to play as I want you guys to play. If you want to play, I want to help you guys to play. Thanks for dropping in. If you can't stay too long, if you can, then I'm just gonna keep talking. Um, cool. Yeah. So if you guys, I mean, if we can find something where we can get people into a something of like I can like invite people into a private like dice room, that'd be great.
I was hoping for something with dice animations. I'll keep looking.
That would be cool.
Oh, really?
Does
Mine
it?
says it's secure.
I don't. Is it HTTP but not HTTPS?
It's HTTPS.
Oh yeah.
Google says it's secure. I don't know. I don't know, Spaceman. Okay, when?
Yeah. So, Ducky. So, I mean, I guess it depends. Like, so which do you so like following along with what I said about like making the character, you choose your paths first. Which paths did you choose for your cowboy heel slinging cowboy? Which paths did you pick? Which paths did you see that character falling into? Let's go through this like bit by bit, and this will be a good learning experience for everyone else. Other people probably have like similar questions. Yeah. So you select four paths that your character has had in their past or present. Yeah, you get four of them. So like your character has probably lived something of a life. You don't have to pick four. If you want to make a character that's really young and maybe they haven't like had very much experience, maybe just pick like two paths or something. But your character's probably had your character's probably had like a lot of experiences in their life. And they've gone through like different walks of life. What are those walks of life? I mean, he apparently in some fashion he's interested in being a physician. So whether or not he was like employed as a physician, he definitely tries to heal people. He's definitely an alchemist. It sounds like he like conjures like these. He like throws together these craftsman road on the road to alchemy. Okay, craftsman. Okay, so Okay, so he was like I keep saying he. I don't know if that's the right pronoun. I don't know if this is like gonna be a chick. So I'm sorry if I keep doing that. Um, um, so like an artisan. Cool. They made their own slingshot. I love it. So they're like Magnus. They're woodworkers. So they woodwork their own slingshot. And they were like maybe like a little bit like a thief. So maybe they started out like really young. They started out really young with an interest in like crafting things. Um, and then they made the slingshot, and then they were just like this little fucking menace around the neighborhood. Like they just kind of like went around just like messing things up with this little slingshot, this like super powered slingshot that they made. Um, and maybe that like kind of got them in trouble. So they're like they've got the thief path now, right? Because they're just kind of like going around. That doesn't necessarily mean that they were like actually stealing things. Maybe you were stealing things. That's up to you. Um, but yeah, I feel like that would fit nicely into the thief path, and then like you're kind of going around, um, you're kind of like just like being a menace, um, and then at some later point, like maybe yeah, and then at some later point, you get into bad deals. What makes you decide that you want to start healing people? If that's the route you still want to go, like what made you decide that you want to start like um, so you start like doing like alchemical stuff. Maybe like you get like into like a gang or something, and like you actually like you like start shining in that respect, and you start like making things. Like, does your character ever turn around? Like, does your character like seem like a good guy? Were they like bad as a child, but they've kind of like grown out of it and they want to help people now, or they're just still like badasses who don't give a fuck about nothing and just want to just like break shit with their cool slingshot? Cool, cool. Cool. It sounds like your character's agile. Definitely sounds like your character's agile. Just based on that, like they were doing like roguish things, like little thiefy things. Um, so yeah, agility is definitely like a big one. I would say agility is a big one. Maybe not so mighty. Maybe they don't have very much interest getting into like hand to hand like scruff, like scrapping. Like they just like shoot people and then they run away. Or if someone tries to mess with them, they just kind of like dodge out of the way and they just kind of like peace. Um, or maybe like you're thinking of this character as like being like, yeah, they fuck people up with like being agile, but also if like someone gets in their face, they just like punch them out. Um, it sounds like they're a smart character. It definitely sounds like they're an intelligent character, and maybe like if they've got like this rough childhood, they're charming. Like they've got a way about them of like talking themselves out of trouble. That's kind of the image that's emerging in my head. That's not necessarily what it has to, but I mean those are my suggestions. Like just based on what you've said, like based upon the paths and the kind of the information you've given, it seems like they're an agile, intelligent, and somewhat charming person. Maybe like maybe like 2 points in agility, a point in intellect, and a point in charm. So what that would mean is that you would have a harder time doing might rolls. That's significant. I mean, if you do something right, like if I tell you, um, let's see, no, absolutely not. No, I like you tell me what you want to make, and we will work with it. Right? Like I want you guys to feel comfortable jumping in this. Um, So this is where paths come in. So it's possible to have zero in a stat. It's possible to make your character and not have anything in might or not have anything in charm because you're like a super intelligent and agile person, but you can't talk to people for shit and you are weak as hell. So does that mean like you go into a situation and you have to open a door and you can't open the door? No, you can open a door. You're not mighty, but you're also not like feeble. You're not inconfident. You can open a door. It's a trivial thing to open a door. If you have to do something that requires a lot of might of you, though, you're gonna have a really hard time. You don't have any points in might. Maybe your path covers you there, though. So, say you make this character duck, and you go with say artisan woodworker, thief, like kind of like young scoundrel sort of thing, alchemist, and then physician. So if you have to punch someone, you're not going to be able to do that super well. If you have to lift like a really heavy thing, you're probably not going to be able to do that super well. But what if you have to do something that requires you to be mighty, like maybe you have to like break a wooden door down? If you can make the argument to me that because you know how to interact with wood, you know how wood works, you know how wood is strong because you've done so much artisan work with wood. Um, if you can make the case to me, which I feel like there is a case to be made there, that you know like where wood would be weak, and you know like based upon your experience with woodworking, like where this wooden door would be weak, you can roll with your path. You may have 0 in your might, but you're still going to be rolling dice to break down this door because you know how to do things with wood because you're a woodworking artisan. You know how to break wood. You've had to break wood to be able to make things with wood. So that's kind of the interplay between your stats and your path. Your stats are like what you are as like your body. Like I am my body. I'm not a very mighty guy. I'm a little bit fast, so I'd be a little agile. I don't think I'm particularly charming. I maybe get like a couple points in intellect, a couple points in charm, a couple points in agile, but I'm not very strong, right? That's my body. That's who I am as a person. But my path is my experiences. My path is like, what have I done in my life that informs my ability to do things? What is it like what is it that I can do as a result of the experiences I've lived? So you may not be very strong, but that doesn't mean you'll never roll with might. Like you may be able to do mighty things. You could make a guard that has no might and is very agile, but if someone like comes up to you and tries to knock you off your feet, if you were a guard, you know how to stand your guard against people. Like you'll be rolling dice against that. Sorry if I'm not getting around to everyone or I'm paying like special attention to Duck. Like Duck came out very specifically and like wanted help with something, and I thought that might be a good avenue to be able to talk this through with one person, and then all of you could like hear this and then maybe answer questions that you had. Let me scroll up and see. Let's see. Okay, farmer, thief, alchemist, sorcerer. So you grow your own stuff. You probably use some of the stuff that you grow to perform some of your magic, because you're going to need some stuff to be able to do magic stuff. Magic's crazy. You need some cool shit. You need like good reagents to like do magical stuff. That's cool. I like it. I like it. I'm sorry, Ren. I'm sorry. Aw, our good apple is out of the loop. Our resident good apple. Ren, that is the finished, completely done. No revisions ever to be made to it. Definitely like completely spotlessly, like, yeah, it's refined to the core. Little player companion. The first page tells you a little bit about the game, how to play. The second page is your character sheet. It's how you track what your character is and what your character does. And the third and the fourth pages help you make your character. But yeah, I like just like give it a little look over. If you have any questions, I'll try and help you. Wow, my voice is going up and down and doing crazy things. 24 hours of no sleep will do that. All will flock to me, Garden of Eden, for the dank magic kush. God damn it, guys. I love it. Okay, so if you have any questions looking at that Renegade, just like throw it out in chat and I will jump over and I will try and help you. If you want to look at that now. I do want to move on to the next one though, discussion of tone and setting. So I mentioned in the Discord earlier that I do have, I mean, there are a couple things, right? Like it's fantasy. We all agreed that we want to play a little bit of fantasy. Everyone at least agreed that fantasy is something they'd like to play. They would be okay playing. So it's going to be fantasy, right? Like no like laser guns, right? You're not going to be like running around with like, you don't got like a fucking zero G suit with laser guns and like I don't know, like janky shit like that. This isn't sci-fi. This is fantasy. So try and keep it in fantasy for the setting and tone. Okay, cool. So keep it fantasy. So that's one. Two, it's a little bit ordinary. It's ordinary and extraordinary. Magic is not like every day. Magic isn't something everyone can do. Wizards aren't like there aren't like dudes in pointy hats walking around. Like sorcerers are sorcerers. There are people who like do magic. Magic is not like I and then fucking missiles come out of your finger sort of thing. Like magic is something that you have to do. It's like a labor. It's a thing you have to like really like try to make. Magic takes something out of you because like magic you're fucking with reality when you do magic. Reality will fuck with you back. And in order to convince reality to like allow you to shape it, you may need things. You may need time. You may need to be able to. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, a little like voodoo. You're don't think of it so much as like a wizard, like Liviosa, or Liviosa. You're more like the guy like drawing like fucking pentagrams on the ground and like summoning things and yeah, I'll get to the advancement in a second. So okay, fantasy. Magic is magical. Magic is not everywhere, but when magic comes up, it will feel impactful because you're just going to be a bunch of dudes running around with swords and like packets of herbs and shit. That, like you draw things on the ground. If a dude comes up and he can throw fireballs, oh my god, he must be a badass. You might be fighting a god if they're just like fucking fireball, fireball, fireball. Like that's a big deal. So magic is a big deal in the world, and it's not just like trivial to do. And you're going to be going to unknown places and probably trying to kill them, but not necessarily. So those are the three things that I ask of this, of the tone and the setting. Fantasy, magical is magic, and you're going to new places, and you're probably trying to conquer them. Maybe you're trying to understand them, but there are probably going to be problems that you need to overcome with violence occasionally. You're going to be going to new places. Yeah, exactly, Nelson. Yeah, it's a think of it like what inspires me a little bit along this path is sword and sorcery. There is magic in the world, but it is it's dark. Like right, like you're shaping reality, and if you want to shape reality, usually like you want to do it to some uncouth end. Like you want to hurt someone, and it might hurt you in the process. It's like magic happens, but like it's kind of scary. Like that person that my neighbor does magic. Like I'm not sure I like that. Like he might like summon dark spirits into the neighborhood in doing that magic. The universe is built on additive and subtractive magic, manipulating the essence of materials in existence. Yeah. I mean, yeah, absolutely. Like knowledge is you have to have like very intimate knowledge of the world to be able to do magic. Like you have to have like very arcane knowledge. If the balance is 4, you are adding a fraction to 4, right? Yeah, fuck that guy. Unless he does black magic to like kill some dude who you hate even more, then like yeah, that guy's dope. I'll get into exactly like what the rules are of actually like casting spells for people who take the sorcerer path. It won't be too unwieldy. It'll mostly just be like you tell me what you want to do, and I'll tell you what you have to do in the fiction to be able to accomplish that, and that may require of you that you take a condition, right? Like if you have to like do a very powerful magical thing, it might exhaust you. It might like take a little bit out of you, or you may have to take some time. Like maybe you're in a really tough situation and you want to do really powerful magic. Maybe you don't have the time to do really powerful magic because it requires like a lot of setup. So it'll be like it'll be a conversation. It'll be an exchange. You say you want to do this, I will say, okay, that sounds reasonable. That requires X, Y, and Z of you. and you may say, okay, I have X, Y, and Z, and I'm willing to take X, then you do it. You do the magic. It'll be a kind of along those lines, and depending on like how much of the magic you want to use or like how powerful you want the magic. No, I mean, yeah, I mean, no moral absolutes. Like, no, I'm not the kind of person that likes that kind of like philosophical or fictional exploration that like there's good and evil. Like I don't know, I'm not a big fan of that. I'm more of a fan of gray area. So no, magic is not necessarily evil. If you want to kill someone with magic, like is the person you're killing evil? Like it depends on what they do to you. Like if you don't like them as a person because they do things that you think are evil, then you're not evil for killing them necessarily. I don't know. Yeah, it's not necessarily evil. But those are my three asks. That it's fantasy, that magic is magical and it's kind of hard to do, and that you guys are going to be going to distant, strange lands. Maybe not necessarily a new idea, but an old idea that most people don't fuck with. Because like most people are like, I can't do that shit, or I'm not willing to take on that responsibility. Right? Like woodworking isn't necessarily a new idea, but not everyone woodworks because it's a lot of work. You actually have to do it. It's like a career. It's like something you do. Yeah, exactly. Like science isn't new, but it's not easy. So like it's yeah. And you can put your own spin on the magic. Like as far so, like magic is hard and it is kind of a little bit rare. But like if you want to like think like if your character is like if your character thinks of magic like I'm like shaping like I'm thinking like I'm like making geometric symbols and I'm like doing like math and I'm actually shaping reality by actually changing the physics of reality with my intellect and I'm like writing things down and like it's like a very brainy and scholarly approach to magic. Your character can think about magic that way. That's fine. It's just as long as you say that to me and I say, okay, you have to do these things. You have to gather these things to do the things that you want to do. It's just my way of putting requirements upon you. The exact way that your character thinks about magic is up to you. Like that's in your ballpark. I'm not gonna. I'm trying. I want to be kind of like a little bit. I want to be a little hands off with the setting so that you guys can make the world your own. I'm not gonna like tell you that magic is one way. I just want. My one ask is that like magic is not like trivial. That magic is like in D&D. Like D&D is a very high magic, high fantasy thing. Right? Like everyone does magic. Like bards do magic like crazy. Like rangers have magic. Like druids just like shapeshift into things, then they pop out and then they like make like thorns come out of the ground. And then a wizard turns the corner and he just like fucking thunder waves and then like shoots a fireball and then shoots a bunch of it's trivial. It's trivially easy in settings like that. I'd like it to be a little bit more magical. If magic is everywhere, it's not. It loses a little bit of its magic. Okay, returning after that incredibly long tangent back to what you said, Duck. Advancements. Yeah. It depends on exactly what setting you're playing in. Advancements. So when you guys do things, I will give you experience. It'll probably oftentimes be at the end of play. I want to try and incentivize people to stick around for the entire time that we play. So I'm going to be awarding most of the XP at the end of the session, depending on how long people were participants. Right? So like if you come in and you're like, I'm going to be a supporting player, and you're only there for an hour, that's fine. I'll give you XP commensurate to how long you were there. Godly magic. That is something that I will have to touch on. Let's see. What are the paths? So priest. So you don't necessarily have to be a priest. You're just like in the loosest sense of the word. You are somebody who derives magic from a higher being. It's going to kind of be kind of along those same lines. Maybe it's not going to require you to like make symbols on the ground. Maybe it's not going to make you require you to make symbols on the ground. Maybe it's going to require you to offer something to your god. Maybe it's going to require that you make a sacrifice to the god, or you promise to your god that you will do something if they grant you the power to do what you want to do. It's gonna be a request and granting relationship for doing magic. If you say I want to do this, I will say here's the requirements upon you to do this, and then you will say, okay, I'll do that. Yeah, maybe God just wants to get like super blazed. Okay, advancements. Most of the XP is going to come in the form of like at the end. Occasionally, I want to like kind of like leave XP a little bit up to the community too, right? Like if you do something like super heroic, like maybe we'll have like a voting thing at the end of the thing, like who did the most heroic thing? Who was like the MVP? Like it's really nice being recognized when you do a really cool thing. So like maybe like occasionally we'll take it to a vote, like, hey community, like what did you think the coolest thing was? And like if a bunch of people say like a bunch of names, like we'll give XP out to those people. XP will be in small increments. It won't be like you gain 50,000 XP. Go ahead and add that to your 3 million XP. Oh, yeah, that sucks. Are you close to the? Are you? I mean, I don't want to get invasive or anything. Are you close to the? Are you close to the shore? Oh, coast. Yeah,
It's coming way.
That's the word. Yeah, yeah, I'm sure it is. Um, where was I? Okay, you get XP. I will also be tracking XP just so that we know that like everyone's like being above board. Just so we can avoid future drama. Not because I think that everyone's going to be cheating, but because this is going to. I have a feeling this is going to be opened up to more people than just the people who are in this community at the moment. The community will expand a little bit, and if it does, I hope, like fingers crossed, I hope it does. If it does, I want to make sure that there's no potential for people that maybe we don't have 100% trust in to potentially like be able to game the system and like make other people feel like they're being cheated because other people are cheating. I'm watching you. Don't make me fucking take away your good apple. I'll take away your title. You get XP, and then you spend your XP to become a better version of yourself. So, those are the three ways. Those are the three ways that you can advance. You can advance by increasing a stat by 1, you can advance by increasing a path by 1, or you can advance by gaining a boon. You can only have a maximum of 6 boons. Boons are basically like abilities or like really good equipment that is specialized to your character. By slaying allies. We're trying to be a community here. Right? Like, I guess maybe I should say, like, in discussion of tone and setting, right? Like, this is a little bit like a co-op game. And I think there will be avenues. There will be avenues for people, like, being able to, like, play villains if you want to. But I think starting out, we want to try and, like, kind of bring the community together. We don't want to scare anyone off by having, I mean, like, I guess it depends on what you guys want. Like, if you guys are okay having your character killed by somebody else, like having them be backstabbed, um, no, it's not whether or not it's morally gray. It's like, right, like it's disconnected. So there's the fiction, and in the fiction it's just shades of gray. In the real world, we're just trying to have a good time. We're trying to have a good time starting out, and that usually involves like, right, like if the first time you ever like picked up a game like this and you didn't know that you wanted to do it and you're kind of like a little uncomfortable and you're like, I'll give it a try, and then you get in there and then someone's like, I don't trust your character, I kill it. Like, do you really think that person's gonna feel very good about their experience? Like, I want to have a safe environment for people. Yeah, I want to have a safe environment for people to kind of get their feet wet. And then at some later point, I have ideas. I want us to be able to do like villainous things. Like, I want if someone, yeah, like it's not a very fun experience. Yeah, yeah. I mean, we'll explore how comfortable some people are and like use your good judgment. Um, use your good judgment in that, like, right, like, I don't know, Like, don't kill people that like it's their first time playing, like just because you can, or I don't know. Like, I guess like another ask is like, don't be a dick. Like, not to say that like killing someone is necessarily a dick. Like, that can be really fun. That can be really cool to explore. Um, yeah, I mean like villainous like working against the party because like the frame that I'm putting on it is that like we're a community. Like all of your characters are working together to accomplish a goal because they literally come from the same place. Like you all come from the same land and you're exploring new lands that are distant from you and you're finding these new things. And when you're finding these new things, like you have your people around you and they are what are helping keeping you alive. But it's possible that someone may want to come in as a character from one of those new lands, right? Like if the party is like exploring this new land and they come up to this new place and it's like civilized and there's like a kingdom there. Maybe one of you guys want to come in. You want to be like, I want to be a character from that kingdom. So by default, we get alone right as the setting rule. Rephrase that for me one more time, just so I can, because I don't quite know what you mean there. Yeah, maybe you want to like come out as like. Yeah, yeah. You guys at the beginning. That I get. So I will say I'll say that's another ask. Okay, so like fantasy magic is magical. You guys are exploring new lands and starting off. You guys are kind of like pals, not necessarily like your best of friends. I'm not saying like you guys are like the chummiest of chums. But like you are in this dangerous place, and you know that these guys aren't trying to kill you. Your stream companions. You know that everything else out there is trying to kill you. Like turning against them would be kind of silly. Yeah, no worries. But yeah, in the future, I think there will be like opportunities to explore that, and like you don't necessarily just have to have one character. We can like you can play around with things. You can start out having an allied character, and then later on, once we are more comfortable, dipping into like that more treasonous stuff. Maybe like you're like a turncloak. Like you started out like helping them, and then like you want to help this other kingdom because you just wandered into this new land and this new kingdom. You really like what they're doing, so you want to help them. But the party doesn't want to help them. So then there would be like a little bit like of a contention between you and the party. I think that would be a cool space to be able to explore. Because of the format, I will almost necessarily always have to kind of like follow along with a party of people, and the party of people is probably going to be the people who are exploring. But if you like start like a splinter group and other people want to join your splinter group, then we can make another night where you do things, and on a different night they do things, and like you guys are like going through things, and maybe like at some point you guys come up against each other and butt heads, and that could be like a really dramatic conclusion. Um, how about secret discussions if you want to kill someone for plot twists, but have the other person's character willing to sacrifice to die? Yeah, I like that. Like, if you're willing to have your character die, no big deal. Like, I just want to make sure that we're not potentially scaring away people who don't want to have their character die. Some people who aren't used to this kind of format of like playing RPGs, if they're not used to this thing, they think in terms of my character is the only reason I'm playing. They are playing because they are their character, and when their character dies, their game ends. They don't participate anymore. They say, that's where I'm done. Like, right? Like, it's like, this is a game where permadeath is a thing. It really is. Like, if your character dies in the fiction, they're dead. Unless someone can, like, raise them from the dead. So, right, like, if the first time you played Dark Souls, you killed the first boss and then you got to the second boss and then you died and then they deleted your save, do you think you'd really be that interested in giving it another try? Like some people would, most people wouldn't. Most people don't like the idea that everything that they're pouring themselves into, their character, when it dies, they think of that as the death of them at the table. So yeah, I mean, like, I think we should probably explore a space of like comfort and alliedness just to start off with, and then at some later point we can explore the villainous stuff. And if you're comfortable having your character get killed, and you're like, yeah, like if my character dies in a dramatic way, that's fucking cool. I'll just come back with a different character. If we find people who are like that, fuck yeah, kill each other. I'm game. Like that's really cool. Yeah, like I'm totally cool with that. I like that. I like that idea. Okay, I keep getting sidetracked. Experience. You will be able to level these things up by spending experience. Experience will be a currency that you can spend to improve your character. That is all the detail I'll go into, because I have on my own end like numbers for how much things will cost to level up, that I don't want to get into. That's too granular. Yeah, and like you'll always be able to make new characters, and being able to watch is also a part of the participation. Okay, so yeah, those are my asks. I feel like we've touched on tone fairly decently. Like I said, so revised asks are fantasy. We all agreed that we wanted to be playing fantasy. Not all of us necessarily agreed, but the majority, and we have to pick fairly, and fairly is majority rules. Fantasy. Magic is magical. Magic is not ordinary. New places to explore. If you're familiar with playing D&D, it's west marches. It's right, like you gotta go west. We've got to explore the world to the west. It's a new land every day. So like, um, and like kind of like don't be a dick, but also like the extension of that is like let's not be a dick to each other, unless people like are really cool with that, or like starting out like just kind of like be cohesive. Yeah, boons. Okay, so I'm just gonna say like boons, like probably like the simplest way to translate boons. The most close analog would be abilities, right? Like when you make your character, you don't have any ability. You don't pick a class and then get like 4 abilities because you are that class. Um, your boons are like the things that you take with you through life. Maybe you've got like a really strong right arm. You were just born with a super strong right arm. So like that is your ability is that like you have a super strong right arm, and like when you punch people with your right arm, you like are better at punching people. Maybe a boon is something that you got. Maybe it's something that you bought. Like you spent a lot of money on this really nice piece of armor, and it protects you. Like you spent the money well. Yeah, it's kind of an ability. It's not necessarily something that you activate, as much as it's like it's a specific thing that helps you. Yeah, or maybe you inherited your strong right arm in your teenage years. I think your slingshot would be your weapon. I mean, there is a little bit of like leeway between the two. You could say that like you have a boon, and that your boon is that like you, I don't know. Like I feel like that fits better. It's a matter of like where does it fit best. I feel like it fits best into the weapon category. That is your weapon. Um, yeah, so maybe you could have a boon that someone enchanted your slingshot. Oh my god! Like when you shoot things from your slingshot, when you shoot things from your slingshot, like like it's magical, so it incurs a cost upon you, but your slingshot is like special in some way. Jesse McCree, his sight for high noon. Yeah. So yeah, the boons are probably going to be one of the biggest sticking points for people making characters. I'm right here. I will work with you. Oh god. Oh god. And we'll explore like I don't worry too much about like what exactly like a boon means for you, like right. So like if I go into the document and on the 4th page I look so explorer's rucksack, I could just tell you right now what that means. If you have an explorer's rucksack as your boon, you have a rucksack that's just full of good shit for exploring. If you guys are out like ascending a mountain, you're trying to get to the top of this mountain, which is actually like an open faced volcano inside of which lives this dragon made out of solid gold that you want to kill, and you want to like just tear his body apart for all of its gold. Yeah, you can ping me whenever you got a question. I love this shit. I want to help you guys. And you want to climb up, but like you guys are like, shit, how do we climb up this thing? The dude who's got the exploring rucksack as his boon, he's gonna be like, hang on, I've got some rope and some what's the climbing shit they use that you yeah, you got a grappling hook. You got a. Well, I feel like a grappling hook would be like a little more assassinating. Exactly. Yeah, he can sleep on his horde all the time. What? They're called. God, what are they
Picks?
called?
The hooky things they use? Crampons?
Yeah, that's right. Pittons. Thank you. Or pythons, or let's find out. Python?
Piton.
Whoa!
Oh God, what was that?
Whoa.
That was weird. Pythons. Yeah. So like the dude who's got the explorer rucksack, he's got rope and pythons, and he's got like he's got like a knowledge of like how to belay and shit. You guys are gonna be able to climb up that mountain because that dude had an exploring rucksack. He was prepared. If you get into a fight, like the dude who's got the well-made armor, he's prepared. He's gonna do well in that fight.
Ooh, perfect spatial control.
Ah, that would be a boon. I would say that's a boon. Absolutely, 100%. See, it's like a question of like where does that fit? Like when you're making your character, you get this idea. You're like, I want my character to be able to fool anybody with their face. Where does that fit? That fits into boon. That doesn't fit into your stats. It doesn't fit into your path. It doesn't fit into your weapon. I mean, maybe you could think of it as a weapon. If you really wanted to get like really abstract about it, like I could work with you depending on how we thought about that. But it fits best into boon. It is your boon. You have perfect control over your face. When you're talking to someone, you can like look like you like them in spite of the fact that you want to kill them. I would say that that is a boon. That's a boon, and that's a good boon. That's cool. I like that. And so exactly like as to the extent to which these like these boons will be mechanically significant, I'll try to work with you to make sure they're balanced. I don't want anyone to feel like, right, like they take their boon and their boon is like, if you say my boon is a bottomless bag with a solution to every problem I could ever have, I'm sorry, like you can't have that. That's not a boon. That's not a boon you can have. Like at the end of the day, like I will have to like be like enforcing upon that sort of thing. Like try to think like to think a little bit less like I want to be able to win this game, because like don't think about trying to win this. Think about like playing and making a cool story and interacting with the stream. Like don't try and like think in terms of like I want my boon to be the best possible boon. If you make a shitty boon, if you make a boon that's hard to interpret to be very beneficial, I will try to work with you. I will try and give you opportunities where you can succeed with that boon. Yeah. The balance is going to be like kind of a little tricky thing. This like I'm like full disclosure, like this is going to be more of a fiction centric environment, a fiction and like cooperative like storytelling environment, rather than it is like a hardcore gaming environment, because we don't have like you can't do hardcore gaming over distant play unless you like pull out Roll20 and we're like moving things along the grid and like managing an action economy. It's going to be mostly like like what are the relationships that develop between people, and like what are the challenges you can surmount with your critical thinking and like the kind of preparation you prepare for yourself. And yeah, it's going to be like adventuring. It's going to be adventuring rather than like I don't know, like crazy tactical combat. We'll get into a little bit of like the nuance of combat and like being able to actually like kick ass in combat. That is an aspect of it.
I love it.
So if you're being serious, Fox, I wouldn't even say that. You don't have to write that down as a boon. That's just what you look like. That's just what you look like, and that's just like a thing that you do. Like I don't think like keeping you warm really justifies like making it one of your 6 boons. And you will be able to trade out boons in the future. You just got long hair, dude. That's fine. Like that's not a big ask. If you want to look like Chewbacca, just fucking be Chewbacca. You can be like, hey, I'm a fucking Wookiee, by the way. And we'll just be like, cool, like there are Wookiees in this world, and you're a Wookiee. Like you're not a Wookiee with a, you don't have a bowcaster because right, it's still fantasy. But you look, I mean, you look like a fantasy equivalent of a Chewbacca. Like, cool. Okay, tone and setting, cool. We did that. Next on the docket, and like keep asking questions, guys. I'll keep answering them, and going on these like crazy tangents. Trial and tutorial run. I'm currently setting something up, trying to work on something where Leah and I will closely, Rio and I don't know, it's weird. It's weird. I'll have to get used to it. Rio and I will do a trial run where I basically, we show you how the game plays by me running something for just her and I. Her and me.
Just me and you? Are you gonna be a character then, or am I gonna be the only character you're gonna DM it?
You're gonna be the character, and I'm gonna run you through like kind of like an obstacle course sort of thing.
Okay.
Not like an actual obstacle course, but like I'll throw challenges in front of you, and then you will try and surmount them. And in that play, you guys will see how the game plays and what kind of things you can do in it. And I think you'll find that it is very accommodating. It is very powerful. It's these kinds of games that are more narratively driven than they are rule driven. They have a lot of power to them. It's really easy to like kind of like find yourself descending down into the world because there isn't like there isn't this rule book in between you and the fiction. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, send that shit to me. PM that to me, please. If you want to like upload it as like an image or something onto Imgur, and you can send me a link. Yeah, send me stuff. Like I would love to. I want evidence that like you guys are excited about this. That would be so cool. Yeah, yeah, it is. It's very common sense RP. It's a little bit like a little bit improvisational in that sense. But there's not like a huge rule book in between you and the game. Like it can be kind of like jarring when you're like, okay, I want to run up and I want to kick the guy over, or I want to hit him so hard he falls on his ass, and it's like, well, yeah, you can run up to him because you have 30 feet of movement, and you can make an action. So make your attack, or you can use your action to try and push him, but you can't hit him so hard that he'll knock over. Or you have to roll a 20 to do that, which is, you know, a 1 in a 5% chance of doing that. Alternatively, like, you have this feat that you can use. Like, oh god, like, rules can be really burdensome. Rules can be really fun because they can be challenging. They can challenge you. They can be a problem that you have to solve, and that can be really fun. I don't want to shit on rules. I'm also making a rule-based RPG that is completely focused around, like, really interesting combat. Yeah, it can be really fun when you're just like, dude, I really hate this guy that's standing in front of us. He's been a dick to us this entire time. I want to run up to him and hit him so hard that he falls, like, through the earth. Like, I'm not going to tell you that you can do that easily, but I'm also not going to be like, okay, well, did you meet this condition, and this condition? Did you, like, did you use your action to be able to run up to him and to attack him? And did you have this feat to be able to do that? No, it's like, if you're really strong and you want to like hit this guy across the face so hard that he loses his face, like we'll figure out how that can happen. Oh god, draw, duck, draw. Oh god, if you guys have artistic talents, even if you don't have artistic talents, just draw, please draw. I love it so much. I for the first time had people that I was DMing for draw their characters. Actually, everyone except Leah drew their characters.
I'm busy with other things.
Everyone except Leah has drawn their characters, and it's so cool just to like have someone like. DMing is the process of sharing the contents of my mind with you so that you can exist in my brain. When you draw your character, I get to exist in your brain for a little bit. That's so fun.
Oh, post the link again for the character sheets.
Yeah, yeah. There you go. Second page is the character sheet. First page is a brief little description of how the game actually plays. Third and fourth pages help you build your character. I recommend strongly following the instructions on page 3. That, in my experience, is the best way to build your character. Maybe you'll find that that is not an intuitive way to build your character. If not, try something else out. Maybe you want to talk to me. I can try and help you out with brainstorming something. But in my experience, that third page, that is the winning process. That is the formula. You follow through. You pick your paths. Your paths inform the experiences you've had in the past and the present, and they inform kind of what your competencies are because of what your experiences are. And then you put your stats on top of that because that's like your body, like, right? Like if you were a guard, it's probably because you were strong. If you were an assassin, it's probably because you were agile. If you were a scholar, it's probably because you were intelligent. Yeah. Okay, trial tutorial run. This is something I'm going to do with Rio, and we're going to stream it. You guys are going to like see us standing around or sitting around a table, and
We're actually gonna sit at a table. It's not just gonna be a camera on you, and you're gonna hear me through voice chat.
Sure, yeah, whatever, however we want to do it.
Okay.
No necro. You mean like no necromancer? So that would be like sorcerer. Those are like these are very broad terms, right? Like a servant. What is a servant? A servant can be anything. A servant could be like a butler situation. A servant could be someone who maybe you're like paying out like a life debt to a barkeeper. So you are their servant. You're not necessarily a slave. You could leave at any time, but in order to yeah, you could eat something like that. So, like I said, my one of my asks is that magic is magical. Magic is rare in the world. If you're a servant to a lich, that's kind of a real big deal. Like a lich is like an undead dude. Oh my god! Like the power of somebody in life to have come back from the dead. That's like really heavy shit. So we'll explore that. Like if you want to have a character that like is very close to very strong magic, I would definitely say sorcerer fits into that though, because like sorcery is like changing reality with magic. So if you want to have a pet, I would say that's a boon. A pet would be a boon. So if you want to describe the kind of pet that you have, you can describe that. Yeah, yeah. So what kind of pet or what kind of animal would you like to have? Yeah, that would be a boon. I would say that's a boon if you want to have a horse. Unless your horse is your weapon. But if your horse is your weapon, I'm not going to let you just detach from that. Like that's a significant thing.
You have to be on your horse all the time to.
No, not necessarily. But it's like right, like my weapon is my horse. Oh, then I pick up this sword. I'm going to change my weapon over to this sword. Like if your weapon is your horse, it's because you have a strong connection to your horse, and like you're probably not just going to give it up. Yeah, so I would say your boon is your horse if you have a horse. If you want to have a werewolf, I'm not sure. Maybe if another player wanted to choose that their flaw was that they are a werewolf, then you could have your boon to be that you can talk to that other player when they are a werewolf. How does that sound? So one player, they make a character, and then their flaw is that they're a lycanthrope. That sucks, because occasionally I'm going to say you turn into a werewolf, and then your character is going to act in ways that you don't like. So you are now a werewolf. But Ren over here, Ren has known you your entire life, and she knew you when you became a lycanthrope. Maybe she's responsible for you becoming a lycanthrope. She can communicate with you. Her boon is that she can like manage you. You would be unmanageable without Ren. Right. Then we start getting into that cohesion. Like build characters together, guys. Like talk amongst yourselves. Like make yourselves like this big badass adventuring party. That way when Nelson decides he wants to become a villain and try and kill you, like you guys are like super like connected and you can like kick his ass. And then he can make another villain. Like maybe I yeah. Yeah. just keep in mind it is just one boon to start out with. So if you have like some grandiose idea, like I turn people into werewolves, we'll explore that later on. But just for now, like it would be something like yeah, like starting out, I think that would be a good move. Like if someone else was a werewolf, you could control them. That's cool.
Oh, I'm gonna kill everyone.
Yeah, apparently Ren wants to go fucking murder hobo on everyone. Fun story of a necro. You tell me what you want to do, and I'll try and work with you to try and help you fulfill that. Also, just like leave some room for growth. Like right, like your character doesn't have to be the thing that they will ultimately be. Um, Maybe they were a necro at some point, and then they've fallen from grace. And then like you're kind of like back at square one. Like right, we're just starting out the game. Like you don't have to be the most powerful thing right now. Maybe you were like, maybe you were like. If you want to in some way be like related to like necromancy and like kind of like the sorcery of the dead, maybe you were kept as a slave by a necromancer, and he drew your blood, he drew your very life essence to reanimate other things. And that would have like a flaw that it carries with it, but you would also you would have experienced this magic, you would have been around this necromancer, you know how to do like undead magics. The mother cyst. I'm not that familiar with D&D. You grow an internal cyst of undead flesh called a mother cyst. The cyst will be may be noticeable as a discolored swelling of your skin. Mother cyst is slightly painful, otherwise harmful. Mother cyst grants you access to a selection of cyst-related spells listed below. Oh my god. What is this from? What edition is this from? Oh my god. What edition is this from? Oh my god. um, so I would say that that would be like probably like high level sorcery. Um, I would say that's high level sorcery and a curse. Because magic is scary. Magic is like terrifying, and it takes something from you. If you've got this powerful magical thing growing inside of you, you're gonna feel a hurt. I would say it is some combination of a flaw and a boon. It grants you abilities, but it's also like partly a boon because like it feeds off of your energies. Yeah, exactly. It gives you something to grow with. So in the future, like I want to work with all of you in how we go along with this. So maybe your first boon would be that you have this thing, and it takes some of your life energy, but maybe you can take some of that life energy from it, and you can more effectively cast spells that hurt things. Because you've maybe you were like thrall to a necromancer or something, and they cursed you with this cyst or whatever you're thinking of this as being. You can draw upon its energies to more easily hurt people. Like I'm not going to ask as many things of you when you want to try and hurt people. When you say I want to hurt someone with this magic, I'm going to give you fewer requirements to meet because you have this thing as a boon. But also it's a flaw. Like it's a like occasionally like if you come across a necromancer, they would know you have this thing feeding on your energy, and they can exploit that weakness. Yeah. Like if you make the character, um, right? If you build a character at level 20 and you have all of your things already picked out, that's a fun exercise in its own. But once you're there, it's like you're already there. Like what's the point in playing at that point? Like you're already there. Like you can get like a fun one shot out of characters that are already complete because you can explore what their completeness is, but you don't really ever get to grow. Like I want this I want people to grow with this stuff. I want us to like explore the world and like learn things about themselves. uh, it's really easy to like think like this vision I have for my character in my head is the best possible vision of my character. Like it can be so surprising the places you go with collaborative play. the things that people make you think of that you never would have thought of yourself, and your character grows in a completely different direction. I'm gonna post this again. You start out wanting to be like a lich, and then like over the course of play, you find out that like maybe a character that you come to really like has like a tragic backstory of a lich, and like you want to do everything in your power to never become a lich because you don't want to like continue on that kind of like evil that kind of like that like necromantic magic that you associate with evil and that your friend associates with evil. So like you try to get this thing removed from you. You like all of a sudden you were before you wanted to be a lich, and or like you had the idea that you would end up being a lich as a player. But all of a sudden you're like, you know what? I think it makes more sense for my character to get this thing out of them. Let's go on an adventure to try and do that. So those are my thoughts. Like I think growth is like a really fun thing, and it really like makes for exciting gameplay. Trial tutorial run. Got that. Rounding up players. I'm getting a sense that I'm not going to need to like pull from close friends to do this. Like I'm getting a sense that there are going to be enough people who want to play this that we're just going to be able to play this. So I don't think rounding up players is going to be a problem. I would say follow the steps in page 3. Follow the steps in page 3. If you come to a point where you don't know what to do, send me a personal message on Discord or on StreamMe. Probably just on Discord. I'm not familiar with StreamMe. Yeah. Okay. Don't do StreamMe. Send me a personal message on Discord. I will do my best to help you out and try and work something out with you directly because I want this to be personalized.
If you have a question, ping him, please.
Or you can ping Leah and she can ping me. Or
yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
But yeah. If you have a question that you think everybody else has, just do it in the Discord
Okay.
on the Bag of Loose Crayons channel, so that other people can see the question too, because they might have the same question.
Okay. I'll tell you what, Tony. If you can't print it out, we'll try and make it form fillable.
Oh yeah, I didn't do that yet.
Yeah, no, that's fine. We'll try and make it form fillable so that you can kind of just put in your own details digitally if you don't want to print it out. Yeah, that's something we'll get on. Yeah. Most definitely. You don't have to figure. No, we're not playing right now. And like I said, if you don't know what you want to put down as your boon, message me. I will help you. I will try to help you. Yeah, no, I got you. Yeah. I don't. We have a printer, and I don't even print most of the stuff that I print here. I print like a fair deal amount of stuff at like FedEx, like Kinko's or UPS. Like it's 10 cents a page usually, like maybe 5 to 10 cents a page. Super easy. If you can't do that or don't want to do that, we're gonna make it form fillable. I think we'll try and have a form fillable for you.
Do it tonight.
We'll have a form fillable for you by tomorrow. You don't have to figure one out now. And if you figure one out now and you decide on something later, we're not going to be playing just yet. I don't know on what days this is going to happen. We're going to do the tutorial run. That is the next thing on the list. That is the next thing we're going to do. That is the next definite thing we're going to do. I'm probably going to do a Sundered Lands, the Doomed Pilgrim, before that. And then we're going to do the trial run so you guys can see how it plays, so you can kind of get your head in the game. And then we're going to arrange a session. And when we are arranging the session, I'm going to be asking everyone what times work for them, and then we will build a schedule out of what times work for most people. And if we end up filling up that game quickly, we'll try and do 2 sessions a week. That would be very ambitious. I don't think we're going to have that many people who want to do stuff, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see where it goes. Man, my throat is hurting because I haven't slept. Huh? I've been talking for the past 2 hours, and I have gone 24 hours without sleep.
Yeah, I didn't realize it hurt.
So yeah, I think like I said, shoot me messages on Discord, guys. If you have any questions. Yeah, I've been talking. Well, okay, an hour and 45 minutes. I'm exaggerating.
An hour and 45 minutes. I mean, you rounded up.
Yeah.
Okay. It's okay. The video's being recorded on YouTube.
Yeah,
So
the video will be watchable. That's super boring. I know you guys aren't going to watch it if you missed any of it. We'll do this again. I'm going to touch base on this again before we do our trial run, and then again after that when we're starting to schedule things. When we're scheduling things, I will try and help everyone and talk through this again. Dude. Good. Thank you.
I think Ken fell asleep.
We'll see. We'll see. If we're so I think it's going to be minimal prep for one because it's going to be like West Marches. Like we're just going to a distant land, and I just basically like make up like what that distant land is, and then you guys go in, you just like fuck shit up. Hopefully we'll have. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see where it goes. If 2 times a week is too much, then we'll peel it back. I think if we were to have 2 full games a week worth of people participating, I'm not kidding, like 4 hours of people just nonstop chatting and people like donating and stuff, and like we would shoot up that leaderboard so fucking fast. I could justify enduring 2 fucking sessions a week if we had that much activity on this channel. That would, my heart would burst with happiness if we had so many people who wanted to play that we had to have 2 sessions. That would be so fucking cool. That would be so cool, and there would be so much engagement because it's kind of built into the system that there has to be a lot of engagement for it to work and for people to actually be able to participate and to fill a session.
And don't forget that there will be rewards.
Yeah,
at some point.
yeah. So I guess I can kind of drop that in before I peace out because my voice is killing me. But yeah, there's going to be rewards. Like I want to incentivize players to want to be players. Like everyone's going to have. There's every incentive to have one of these. Even if you're not going to be a spotlight character, even if you're not going to be a main character, a starring cast, having one of these helps the starring cast because your stats are relevant to your ability to lend a hand, to step into the spotlight, or to oversee development. Your character will be important even if you never actually step into the spotlight. So that is one way I want to incentivize. Another way I want to incentivize is I want there to be recognition for the people who are willing to play and actually step in and like do like cool things. As you level up, as you do things, as you excel, as you adventure, I want there to be I want there to be outlets for us to reward you. So like think like golden cannolis sort of thing. Like if you are like consistently showing up and playing and like consistently being a participant, you are going to be receiving the opportunity to participate in like raffles and stuff, like for like actual prizes. Like I want to feedback loop the goodwill between you guys participating and supporting us and us supporting you like with cool stuff. Yeah. Oh, baby, waifu gonna be in this? If you're saying Rio, then...
No, Kenshin's wife.
Oh, okay.
Kenshin is Doug's wife.
Oh, yeah, yeah, I assume so. Kenshin seems super hype early on. And then they probably, like, passed out or something. I don't know. It looks like...
Oh, Kenshin said he's making his character. I thought he passed out.
Okay. Cool. I'm gonna call it here. Please, guys, like, don't shy away from sending me... Like, fucking just bury me in PMs on Discord. Like, do not shy away. If I don't have any PMs by the morning, I will individually private message every single one of you and say, why the fuck haven't you messaged me? I did not just stream for 2 hours and engage with you guys so thoroughly for you guys to just like, I don't know, just like kind of weasel your way out of actually like going through with this. Yeah, yeah. um, yes. I'm happy. I'm happy with the way this went. I'm happy that you guys seem excited. I'm excited that you're excited. Hopefully, you're excited that I'm excited. And hopefully that just kind of like feedback loops infinitely, and we just like burst with excitement. But not before playing, because the playing is well, the playing is the orgasm part of this analogy.
Oh,
Um, I'm gonna peace out because I'm getting like tired and probably a little bit loopy, and my voice is like, I need rest. So I'm gonna give it that. I'm gonna give it that rest. Thank you for chatting, guys. Thank you for being excited with me. Um, yeah, this is turning out a little bit to be like an exciting little labor of love. Like, yeah. Be safe, Ducky. Be safe, anybody in any like
yeah.
potential path.
Tony's in Texas too.
Yeah. Be safe, Tony. Anyone in the potential path of what's going on with them flying waterworks. Yeah. Have a good night, guys.
Night.
Thanks for joining. Peace, and thank you for the sprinkles. Thank you.